Sering keluarganya yang ada di sini. Jadi kalau kita untuk melihat seperti ibu itu keluarganya yang lebih mengapa mengikuti anaknya tersebut.
Tidak hanya mengenai bahwa setiap membangun juga karena berbicara mengenai kehidupan manusia dan yang itu adalah gangguan interaksi atau komunikasi untuk itu gangguan perilaku yang dimana seseorang itu berinteraksi dengan lingkungan perkembangan pada anak yang belum berkembang sendiri. Contohnya seperti anak itu menyendiri terus sulit untuk bergaul. Dalam saya itu sudah disebut gangguan yang terjadi untuk perkembangan mengganggu kemampuan pada anak berkomunikasi dan berinteraksi.
Anak autis itu tidak kontak mata dengan dia dengan dunianya sendiri berlari-lari.
Dibutuhkan taat merawat anak dengan autis berdasarkan kondisi keamanan dan pengalaman
Anak ini memang ada kuncinya kalau memang jadi masih anak yang belum terlalu banyak aktivitas di tempat itu.
Karena kan kalau anak autis dia lebih suka dengan dunianya sendiri. Misalnya anak berarti teman dia sedang tidak diri, jadi kan harus kita perhatikan ya, kita buat dengan nyaman dia. Terus dengan
Bermain untuk anak-anak.
Anak melakukan dari sendiri melakukan misalnya PDD di rumah itu.
Sepanjang rumah sakit kita belum ada konsultannya, tetap dirujuk ke rumah sakit yang ada dokter tumbuh kembang anaknya.
Kalau untuk perawatan tidak ada sebagai polio ya.
slide's important because when we focus on autism and intellectual disability, often we have a behavioral focus. We think about how do people with these things behave differently? But the real key to understanding both autism and intellectual disability, and then how to make adjustments to practice to promote inclusion, comes from understanding neurodiversity. And neurodiversity is just thinking differently, in that in our population, we don't all think the same. We came to understand the concept of neurodiversity largely through looking at autism, because autism is a very different thinking and information processing style. I can't really do justice to talking about this in such a short time, other than to build curiosity and encourage you to explore this further. Today, what I'm going to talk about is autism and intellectual disability, but largely what we've found in Australia in terms of health outcomes and the barriers to inclusion, and actually some of the challenges we're facing, and that's kind of important. So if we think about autism and we think about a difference in thinking, and again, we don't have time to unpack it, people with autism are primarily visual processors of information as opposed to thinking in words or linguistic processes. They have a lack of abstraction ability and a theory of mind deficit. So there's actually a fundamental difference in thinking. People with intellectual disability don't have a fundamental difference in information processing style and thinking style, but the speed they can process information and the volume of information that can be processed at any time are different than those who are typical thinkers or those who don't have intellectual disability. Next slide, please. There's a clear link between thinking and behaviour. And in the slide that follows this one, I'm going to show you a short video of this man here, Harrison. Harrison's actually an actor that we employed on a project we've got at the moment, and Harrison has autism. Harrison at the start alludes to difficulty knowing when to press a buzzer, something very simple in hospital. But if we think back to a lack of abstraction ability, actually knowing when to press a buzzer is quite complex. If someone in a hospital, a doctor or a nurse or another professional says, press the buzzer when you need to, actually it took Harrison several weeks to work that out and decode it, because when do you need to press a buzzer? It wasn't a concrete instruction at all. Let's just have a few minutes and listen to what Harrison has to say on the next slide.
It took me a while. I was in hospital for a month, but it took me a while to kind of get to that point of being comfortable to press the button, to ask for help when I needed it. And yeah, when things are busy or when like the nurses are kind of rushed and stuff, and I mean, I guess like talking about me, like that's kind of, if the nurses are talking about me, or kind of like you'd prefer them to talk to you, not about you, if you're right there.
That was a very simple grab off a video, but in it, there's actually a lot to decode. The reason Harrison didn't know when to press the button was lack of abstraction, but with a lack of theory of mind, the ability to put yourself in someone else's position and guess what they're thinking, it's even very hard to know whether people are addressing you, who they're talking to. And so there's a real mismatch between the way people with autism think and typical thinkers think. And there's a mismatch of behaviours, and often that's misunderstood, and that causes lots of problems with inclusion. Again, today's just to build curiosity, but also to give a lot of hope, in that if you can make sense of those thinking differences, the adjustments that can make a huge difference are very small and very easy. And it really gets down to things like concrete instructions. Without making those adjustments, internationally and in Australia in particular, we've identified that health outcomes are terrible for people with autism and intellectual disability. In fact, a case can be made that of any group in Australia, those with autism probably have the worst health outcomes. They're dying disproportionately early of things that are preventable, and having a far greater burden of chronic illness. And so we've got a lot of work to do here to promote equity and inclusion. And when you think about it, it's kind of simple to do. What we do know is that people with autism and intellectual disability present to the emergency department more often, have more chronic illness, and when they do get admitted to hospital, tend to have longer stays. And so there's actually a driver for promoting inclusion and building equity, not only from the experience and outcomes for the people with autism and intellectual disability, but for the fiscal or financial outcomes of the hospital system. Because if we get this right, then care for these people will be.
Tapi kalau dari cerita genetik, kita tidak bisa memilih atau mengganti suami kita supaya gimana. Jadi genetik itu adalah nomor sekian. Kita mulai dengan pertumbuhan. Pertumbuhan itu lebih kepada ukuran, nilai-nilai nominal. Jadi kalau ada nimbal berat badan, lingkar kepala, tinggi badan itu cerita pertumbuhan. 1000 hari pertama, kalau ada anak stunting dalam 1000 hari pertama, 2 tahun pertama kehidupan, itu sebenarnya udah betul-betul. Anak ini akan kehilangan 4 sampai 5 poin IQ-nya dengan usia. Perkembangan itu dikenal dengan 4 domain perkembangan. Dasar, motorik halus, kemampuan bicara dan berbahasa, dan juga sosial. Ya, buat itu sebetulnya dari yang paling lekat sampai yang paling ringan. Autis itu juga seperti itu. Nanti gejalanya mulai dari yang paling berat, ya, sampai yang paling ringan.
semua. Saya pertama saja, kami undur diri. Terima kasih dan sampai jumpa. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saya Dr. Gigi Afrida Arwi, Kabak PSDM Rumah Sakit Haji Medan.
Saya Dr. Yanda Adanta, MKes, Kasubag Diklat Rumah Sakit Haji Medan.
Dengan senang hati kami mengapresiasi kegiatan ini. Kegiatan ini telah berlangsung dengan sangat baik, di mana narasumbernya sangat interaktif, pesertanya juga interaktif, dan kami berharap ke depannya ada kegiatan seperti ini yang bekerjasama dengan Fakultas Keperawatan Usus sesuai dengan MOU kita yang telah terjalin.
Dan kami di sini mendukung penuh. Ini karena bagian dari salah satu pengembangan SDM nakes yang ada di Rumah Sakit Haji terkait dengan pembekalan pengetahuan masalah keperawatan. Dan seperti kata Bu Kabak tadi, kami berharap ini mudah-mudahan bisa menjadi simultan bagi kita semua, mudah-mudahan bermakna dan diberkahi oleh Allah Subhanahu wa taala.
Nama saya Rahmayanti Siagian dari Puskesmas Kenangan. Dengan adanya seminar ini merasa sangat senang dan mendapat banyak ilmu yang didapat, dan semoga kami bisa terapkan di Puskesmas Kenangan dengan adanya ilmu yang kami dapat ini.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saya Dina Marlia, saya perawat dari Rumah Sakit Haji, ruangan Ali kelas. Saya mengikuti seminar pelatihan keperawatan autis. Di sini acaranya sangat menarik, narasumbernya pun menarik. Insya Allah mudah-mudahan dapat kami terima dengan baik. Dan mudah-mudahan ke depannya ada seminar-seminar lagi berikutnya. Terima kasih.